While Congress might be stuck trying to figure out how to fund the government in the dog days of summer, those wicked bureaucrats have been cooking up a nasty stew for gun owners. We've had braces, frames, and forms, oh my. I can't wait to see what the Biden administration has thrown into the pot this time. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Before we get into the video, please like and comment so we can beat YouTube's algorithm together. On August 30th, the ATF released a new proposed rule titled Definition of Engaged in the Business as a Dealer in Firearms. Before I break down all the problems with this rule, I want to be clear. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, or as I like to call it, the Cornyn-Murphy Compromise. They even say this on the first page. This is because the Cornyn-Murphy bill took the old definition of who had to be a dealer, someone who makes their livelihood off of selling firearms, to anyone that makes a profit on firearm sales. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you've heard me talk about the Cornyn-Murphy Compromise. That's because this terrible piece of legislation has opened the floodgates to allow all of these anti-gunners to do whatever they want. But when we rang the alarm bell, those compromising politicians who just wanted to do something, they ignored us, and they said we were just fear-mongering for donation. It goes to show you that not everyone shares the no-compromise mindset on the Second Amendment like we do. That's exactly why it's important for us to keep up the fight in DC and show these people there's a better way. Okay. Let's tackle this rule head on. What the ATF is trying to do is require all private gun sales to be recorded and monitored, despite private sales between two law-abiding citizens being legal in over half the country. Now, everyone is supposedly engaged in the business under this new rule, because no one sells a gun with the intention to lose money on it. Personally, I never buy a gun intending to sell it at all, but if I were to sell a gun, the ATF assumes that I want to make a profit on it, which means that now I have to become a gun dealer. But selling a gun doesn't make me any more of a gun salesman than me buying some body armor and then selling it to a buddy makes me an armor distributor. The qualification of engaged in business is extremely vague. You don't even need to sell an actual gun to be in the business. Listen to this. Thus, even a single firearms transaction or offer to engage in a transaction, when combined with other evidence, may be sufficient to require a license. I don't know what kind of logic they're using over there at ATF HQ, so let's break this down. What is some of this quote-unquote evidence? Okay, imagine this. You're doing some internet shopping and see a sweet deal on a brand new AUG or AK, and just decide right then and there to impulse buy it. Don't worry guys, I'm guilty of the same thing. But then you wake up after a night's sleep on it and realize, man, I really don't want to eat ramen noodles for the next 3 months. So you sell it to a buddy without even putting 200 rounds through it. Well now, instead of you being guilty of just making a bad financial choice, but fixing it, the ATF also thinks you're engaged in the business since you sold a like-new firearm. Now let's say you actually shot 1,000 rounds through it, but still sold it. Only this time, the market price went up due to the gun being discontinued and inflation making it harder to buy 3 months worth of ramen. Well now, because you've made a profit, because you sold it for more than what you paid. Oh, but it gets better. Say you collected a bunch of AUGs. Why? Who cares? It's your money and your right to do so. Well, not according to the ATF, because bona fide collectors are only people who collect old and rare guns that hold special interest. Of course, the ATF FUD who wrote this probably has 15 muskets in his collection, because that's what the founding fathers intended. So I'm sorry to all you Glock fanboys and AR cloners out there. The ATF says you're not a real collector. I, for one, am super devastated that the ATF doesn't think I'm a real collector of Daewoo's. Oh, and one more thing. The ATF says that keeping records on the cost of your firearms would also show you have an intent to predominantly earn a profit. Man, I wonder where a person would document, track, or calculate the cost of their firearms. Maybe insurance liability, just in case someone breaks in or your house burns down. Seems like the ATF doesn't want you to keep up-to-date records for your own monetary benefit. Only they should be allowed to, for crime prevention. Totally no other reason. So what is this all about? Well, on page 58, the ATF says that they're conservatively estimating about 300,000 people that are currently selling firearms privately would need an FFL. Now this is crazy, because according to the 2023 numbers, there's only 136,000 FFLs currently active. This rule would triple that number. On top of that, with the zero tolerance policy that the ATF has adopted, these new FFLs would have to make sure all of their documents are perfectly in order, even if it's only once or twice a year that they actually sell a gun. They better keep those two 4473s in a safe spot so that the ATF inspector doesn't find a single paperwork mistake. Otherwise, they'll lose their license. This is clearly the ATF pushing for universal background checks, just like Joe Biden told them to in his executive order.
Meantime, my executive order directs my Attorney General to take every lawful action possible to move us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation.
You know what universal background checks lead to? An even larger gun registry than the one the ATF illegally has. And I've said it before. Gun registration leads to gun confiscation. But not all hope is lost yet. For one thing, this is just the proposed rule. Nothing is written in stone yet, so be sure to look out for our model comment where we will help you argue the best possible case. In the past, GOA members flooded the ATF's comments during those periods, accounting for almost a third of all comments on both the frame and receiver rule and the pistol brace rule. In fact, we helped strike down a lot of crazy requirements of the previous rules, like the solvent trap question and the frame and receiver rule. Now once again, I'm asking for your help to stop these crazy infringements against our constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Be sure to sign up for our email list in the description of this video to get alerted the second the model comment goes live. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of GOA's fights for your rights.